driven, determined, stubborn, relentless, devoted, sensitive, loving, kind, family guy, and somebody who's never ever ever forgot his friends, his family, and his humbleness of being a normal blue collar working guy. From the trenches, he's built something special, guys.
What drives you?
The fear of failure. I think failure is a haunting thing that's in my mind. No matter what I've achieved, no matter what I have, I still fear losing everything. It's crazy. And I've had this talk with even my wife. There's things that I've even said that right now that I could never go back to where I was and when it all began, but somewhere inside me there's the fear of that happening. And I know I'm a shrewd, businessman in terms of the bodybuilding side of things, and I've set up businesses, and I'm very proud to do business with some amazing people and amazing business mentors. And I've learned and I've been educated a lot outside of the sport by these people. But it all falls back to, again, failure. And that's one of the reasons why I train for the Olympia like it's the first. Like it's the first title that I've got the chance to win.
14 years, this September the 12th is the first time I saw Flex. The first time from that day onwards we started working together. When Flex walked on stage, you can't describe, you can't explain. And he was just a fucking 19-year-old kid at the time. He walked on stage and he had this aura. He had this ability to draw attention from his charisma, from his professionalism, from his shape and his structure. And you could see that he just had that gift. That gift which comes along every 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe it'll never come along again.
I try to live the life that I want to live, yet not forget where I've come from, yet know what I want to go to. So the drive I have is relentless. The humbleness comes from where I started off, blue collar from Wales. The passion I have is what I wake up to every single morning. I'm not a content person. I achieve my goals and I rise the bar. I achieve that next goal and I rise the bar even further. I came to this country, I knew one person, and I don't want to sound like, like I'm looking for a sob story, but I know what the fuck I done to get to where I am now. And I didn't break any of my morals. I stayed humble. The people I met, the people who I met way back then are still in my corner to this day, because I never forget anybody.
He wants to set a mark that's, hard to beat, hard to catch up to. And he's I think 13th show in a row. If he wins, he's won in a row. So I think he wants to leave a legacy for sure. He wants to leave a mark that maybe someone might catch it one day, but it's going to be really hard. So that way, when he leaves a name, he's going to leave a name. And I think as a build on that, I think he also wants to be able to walk away from it. That yes, he walks away as one of the best bodybuilders of all time, but it doesn't define who he is as a person. It's part of who he is. It's part of his history, but it's not who he is ultimately as a person. I think, if you ask him, he's going to want to be probably known as one of the best husbands and fathers and businessmen. Not necessarily, hey, bodybuilding is, again, part of the history of Flex Lewis, but not a defining, the thing that ultimately defines him. So I first met Flex in 2004. I met him at the USA's in Vegas. I was a big fan of Dorian Yates. That's kind of who I emulated for training, which kind of plays into the role Flex that I have now. But Flex Magazine had written a short little article on Flex because he had trained with Dorian at Temple Gym. And, so anyone kind of affiliated with Dorian always caught my attention. And so I'd, remember this little article when I was walking through the lobby of the USA's, and Flex was in front of me at the time, and he was 19, just kind of a kid. And he was sponsored by Chemical Nutrition, who Dorian was sponsored by. So here you had Dorian's face on the back of Flex's shirt with all of Flex's accolades. So I tapped him on the shoulder and just introduced myself. I caught him off guard, so he probably thought I was like a weirdo at the time. And that was it. That was the encounter that we had. And then flash forward to 2007, a mutual friend of ours, Kevin Horton, we were traveling, we were at FIBO, and it introduced us, and Flex, I just reminded Flex, I said, I actually had met you before, and he remembered that, because he remembered why did someone recognize me at that point. And so from that point on, we'd see each other in passing, traveling from show to show. I was always bust his balls, trying to get him to come over to BSN when I was still there, and then ultimately did. But yeah, that's just how our friendship started, was a kind of a random chance encounter, and then just seeing each other over the years at different trade shows. I don't necessarily feel like I have to keep up with them, because obviously I'm smart enough to, hey, listen, if I feel like I'm going to get injured, something's pulling, I'll back off. But, I'm a fucking stubborn bastard, and I don't like to back down from anything. So it's a challenge. So I try to keep up with them as much as I can. If there's a place I can push them, I try. But it's all in like pushing each other to be better. It's not a ego thing. It's not like a competition. It's just more of like, hey, listen, if you can do it, I can do it. And it's that back and forth. Hey, if I got 50 reps, you got to get 50 reps. So it's just more, I think, of an accountability thing. Not necessarily like feeling I have to do everything the same, but if he's going to put in that level of effort, I have to put in that level of effort, because how can we push each other to be better if we're not on the same level that way from a drive standpoint.
I preach about dreaming big only because it's not a saying or a hashtag that I throw at the end of a post. It's I dreamt big. I dreamt big and I came here. I dreamt big and I went for things. And I dreamt big and now I've achieved things that, again, I used to look at on TV, I used to look at through magazines, I used to look at through the eyes of other people, and I never was envious, I'm never jealous. The people who are really either gone content in life, or they just don't have that willpower, that heart to go for it themselves. So they tell themselves, look at that person, why has that person got that? You can get that. There's no reason why you couldn't go for something in your life. As long as you make them goals, them steps, you will get one foot closer. 1 foot turns to 2 feet closer. And now I have a beautiful wife, I have a beautiful daughter, I have a house, cars, I have a gym, I have trophies. And again, I'm surrounded with the people who are there for Flex and James in all his successes, even if I lost them today. They're there for the right reasons. And that's why I tell people, it's like, dream big, go for your goals, surround yourself with the people that will push you closer to yours, and then you'll soon realize that, once your momentum happens, you are one step closer to getting whatever you want, and you can achieve anything.
He really never forgot where he came from, be it the little town he grew up in. He has amazing parents who work really hard, and I think that's instilled in him at a young age to work hard, to hustle, to get the job done. So family really is his everything. It's how he was brought up. It's molded him. So without that, he wouldn't be who he is today. I think that he really, so the sport that he's in is selfish. That's not a negative word. It's just, you compete with yourself, you do everything, it's about you, it's about the way you look. So it is regarded as a very selfish industry. But really, at the end of the day, he genuinely cares about the people in his camp and people around him. I know from my experience with him, there's so many little things that he does for me, and it's not the big things. It's not getting me the jewelry or this. It's the little things. Like he always pays attention to the small details, albeit, you know, getting a card because he wants to say, hey, I'm thinking of you, you know, something simple. But he does that with a lot of people. And I think that those are the things that not everyone sees because he doesn't have that relationship with the world, which he really shouldn't. It's private. So it's meant to be kept, but he really does care about the small things, and it's all about the small things with him.
Typically him when we were kids, like he'd always look after me, but he was harsh on me. He wanted me to like work for everything I got and learn from, like, if you made a mistake, just get on with it. But like no one could like mess with me, if you know what I mean. There was another one where we were like playing, what do we do now? We were playing like football in the street, and then something happened where it was like my ball, I was the youngest there, and these kids just took the ball, ran off with it. So I'm like really young now, so I've like come in and I'm like almost crying, and I say, oh, they just stolen my ball. So he's like sitting down, just shoots off the chair, runs down the street, finds out where they live, and like these kids are just like running miles because obviously they know who he is, and they can see him running down the street. He comes back about 5-10 minutes later, the ball is tucked under his arm, just gives it to me, pats me on the head, and then just like walks off. Doesn't like want any like gratitude for it, he just thought, right, I need to do this for him, and I'm getting him the ball back. It was amazing.
I think after the baby was born, it took us a while for it to hit home that we both were parents, but yes, in terms of having Adiana born, I think it gives him a new purpose to wake up every day. It makes him more hungry for success in his life outside of the sport. To know that he now has to provide and be a good example for us and our family, I think that really just adds a new dimension for him.
And of course, you know, the upbringing I had with my family, my father, going to work every day, you know, missing work, you know, even when he was sick, because he knew that he was the only income. My mother, you know, going through all the issues and health issues she's had, beating breast cancer 3 times. These are all driving forces. So when people tell me, what do I think of this bodybuilder, and who, or shows me an image of somebody, or throws an image in my head to motivate me, doesn't do anything for me. No disrespect to any of my 212 athletes. I have the utmost respect for you guys. But no matter what you look like, no matter how hard you're training, or again, where you are in your prep, it doesn't motivate me. What motivates me is knowing what's there and what's happened in my past, because I could talk myself into going into part 2 right now, and that is by far bigger than anything. Again, the vote in my head, that shit's locked up for a reason, because once the combination gets put in and that's unleashed, shit starts flying. This year has been probably a combination of a multitude of ups and downs, but more ups than downs, I would say. A lot of traveling, and I think that really, when I say the downs, that took a toll on me. I'd done a lot of different countries this year, experienced a lot of different foods which didn't agree with me, and along the lines got sick, and I carried on traveling whilst being sick. So I started this year's mini off season. As most people know, I don't have the ability to have an off season anymore. At really a weird stage. I think this year you're going to see a more mature looking Flex Lewis. The physique, of course, is still dominated by that number 212. So the ability to come in with 10 pounds more muscle is never going to be the case. But there is going to be visual changes. I worked hard in key areas, and my weaknesses is going to be visual next Friday, or this coming Friday, shall I say. I'm just excited to get on stage. I'm just amped. I know the fans have been amazing. Again, I have the best fan base from all over the world that are coming to the Olympia, that are watching online from all over. So from me to you guys, thank you for all the support. I know that I put as much as I can do out there on socials. A lot of my fellow athletes, get tired and don't really want to do it. This is day 6. I've not seen a post from my fellow athletes that I'm competing against. They're in their cave moaning about how they haven't got energy. I said last year that this year was all about the fans, and we do our daily blogs, we do our vlogs, we do our series following me around the country, around the world, and it's all about giving back. And again, I can't do what I do if it's not from you guys and giving me the support. So from me to you, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you, if not at the Olympia, at a country or a state in the near future. So first things foremost is bringing the package to a stage that you guys can cheer from the seats or from your home seats. And like I said, I'm just excited to do what I do best, and that's
Flex is about to step on stage, what would you say to him?
Do you want to know the answer to this?
Yeah.
Fuck that stage up. When you get on that stage, think about everything that you've sacrificed this year to step on stage and be a better athlete this year than last year. Treat your athletes with respect, but when you get on that stage, you take them out. And you take them out with your shape, your lines, your charisma, your professionalism, your ability to shine, your reasons to be motivated this year, be in your family, but more importantly, enjoy every fucking moment.
Flex, like, you know, to me, you're my brother. I love you to death. Yeah, I'd do anything for you. Can't tell you how proud I am of you doing what you do. Told you this before, I couldn't do what you do. So for you to step up on stage like that, you know, I'm more proud of you than you know, and just get up there and do what you do, because, you know, you've crossed every T, dotted every I, and then some. You know, you got a different reason for doing this now, and, you know, like I said, you got all the love from me and Aaron and the boys, and always will.
Enjoy every moment of it, because when you think in years to come, that's just going to be a memory to him. He won't be a competitive bodybuilder anymore. And obviously he's at the top of his game now, where everyone wants to beat him, and he's obviously motivated to make sure that he continues to win. But I would say just enjoy every moment of it, because when it's gone, it's gone. So him being a champion, just enjoy being on that stage, enjoy being Flex Lewis, Mr. Olympia champion, and just take everything in. So just, as hard as it sounds, just look around and take in everything that people are there for him, watching him, and just savor that moment. I would say I was proud of him, but I don't know whether I put him off or not. But I just tell him, bring it home, and I'll see him backstage with the trophy.
I'd say I love you. You got this. Go get your 5th title.
Hey boy, we've always been proud of you. Just do your best, enjoy the moment, and we love you.
Do your best, James. I know you always do. You'll win 100% by you now. Good luck.